Morning. So I wanted to do another episode of the vlog, a little recap of the weekend, a recap of Lime Rock Park, the season, just going over the car, some ideas. So yesterday, Lime Rock Park, I'm actually uploading some videos now on YouTube. Showed up a few hours early. Some other club was on the track in the morning. Didn't get the car on scales, sadly, but you know it's always down to the wire with these race weekends, and just time is there's never enough time. Go through tech, all that fun stuff. Now we grid up around 1 o'clock. Went out for the first session. First session, I take it a little easy. You push a little bit, but I just made a lot of changes on the car. We, fiberglass hood, fiberglass hatch. I took out the rear bumper support stuff, which was very heavy. I chopped up a lot of the rear bumper. So I took a lot of weight off the rear of the car. So I knew, going in, okay, take it easy. The rear is probably going to be a little bit loose compared to what it was before. Also, I ended up not running my spoiler, which I think really played a huge part at Lime Rock because I had a lot of oversteer. You'll see in the videos there was a lot of correcting going on, constantly coming out of the corners, rotating. Yes, it's fun, but it might not necessarily be the fastest way around the track. So the first session, I took it easy. You never know, making changes on the car, you never know going into that first session how she's going to play, how she's going to feel. Went out, got a few clean laps in, pulled in. Okay. I didn't realize, but I was actually getting a lot of brake lock up from the rear. Jesse told me, he was watching me from the paddock. Into turn 1, I was actually locking up the rear wheels, which is pretty scary. If you ever go-karted with rear brakes on a go-kart, if you have any kind of lock in the steering wheel and you lock up the rear, she's going to rotate. She's going to flick really quickly. So I did get a little bit of rotation going into turn 1. Came in after session 1. We pulled out some brake bias. Went out to session 2. Got held up by a C5 Z06 the entire time. He was not giving me point buys. It was pretty frustrating. We're, playing slinky. He pulled away on the straights. I was right on his bumper on the corners. Never got to meet the driver. Never got to talk to him. So that was session 2 was pretty much a waste. Being in traffic is not fun. Session 3 came along. Had a phenomenal experience with session 3. Absolute euphoric. I let Jesse get by me because he's moving. I was following him and I was battling with a brand new Corvette ZL1 the entire session, and it was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to get the videos up. A lot of oversteer, a lot of correcting. I actually got loose going into the uphill. Very scary looking at that wall. Got really loose around turn 2, turn 3. Had some great saves. A lot of people came up to me after the session and was like, dude, how did you keep that car on the track? I totally thought you were going off. And while it was happening, I thought about going into the grass. I just was like, I'm losing it. We're going into the grass. And then not even a second later, I'm like, no, I'm going to save it. We are staying on the track. And it was just funny how, your brain, your hands, you feel, you react to the car rotating all around you. And it was awesome. It was like the best save I've ever had so far. I just watched the video a few times. What an experience. What was really funny is the Camaro got loose and went wide on turn 3 the lap before, so I took him on the inside, and then the lap later, right after, I got loose. And he actually stayed behind me. He's got some videos. I got to reach out to him. The guy's name is David. Give me his business card. I got to shoot him an email. He's going to send me the videos from his car, so it'd be great to, get his point of view. Let me backtrack. Session 2, I went out, and the first hot lap, I was pushing a little too hard on cold tires, and I actually lost it. I went out, turn 6? Yeah, turn 6. Right-hander. Quick right-hander. Car stepped out, rotated, couldn't catch it, and went off. And I got decently close to the wall. It was pretty interesting experience staring at that wall, getting closer and closer. I've noticed going with the fiberglass hatch, dropping 67, 70 pounds off the rear. I noticed she was a lot tail happy. Now I don't know if it was because of the lack of the spoiler, the lack of that extra downforce, the less weight in the rear. I know obviously taking weight off the rear, you're going to push the front, the weight bias up front, which we don't want to do. Not too worried about it. I still have to get the car squared. I still have to get the car corner balanced. I would love to run a massive wing, so we'll get there, when we get there. So yeah, session 2, first hot lap, lost it. I got a good video of that. That was fun. Session 3 was awesome, battling head to head with that Camaro the entire session. Session 4 went out, last session of the day. Very disappointed. It got held up in traffic the entire session. I mean, I got held up by this Lotus Elise, which is surprising. I got held up by the Camaro. I got held up by a Corvette. I got held up by an S2000. Then I tried to pull off and give them some space, and when I pulled off, it was checkered flag, so that was just a waste. It's frustrating when you are following people in traffic because you cannot take the lines that you want to take. You can't go as aggressive. I mean, some of these guys were breaking into corners that I don't break in, so I'm lifting, I'm coasting. It's a wash, but that's what it is. We had a huge turnout yesterday. Most people I've ever seen. There had to be at least 50 people there. A lot of guys in each group, a lot of guys in each class. It went really well. I ended up taking second place. The guy with the Lotus Elise took first. I ran a 103.6, I believe. So I did drop 2 seconds from my previous time at Lime Rock back in April. Car felt great, just really tail happy, a lot of oversteer. I mean, that could be a mix of numerous things. So I don't want to get too too involved with that. The car is always changing. I'm always working on the car and making improvements. So it's we'll go next season. What else? Yeah, session 4 was kind of a wash. Car ran great, extremely cool. Water temps didn't break. Never even hit 190 the whole time. Oil temps were 240, 250. Can't complain at that point. Never ran out of gas. Always gave us extra splash when I was in the paddock because I tend to forget about fueling up. So you go out and you run out of fuel and have to come in, which is a waste. It was good. We had 4 20-minute sessions. I got the entire sessions, no problems, which is kind of rare. I'm very grateful for that. It did start to rain after our first session, but by the time I got out there, the track was dry. I was really looking forward to getting a session in the wet. I even put my driver's side windshield wiper back on to, go out there and actually get some laps in the wet and learn car control even more. If you ever practice in the wet, like that's how you train, that's how you learn. So that didn't happen. But it was great day. We had a lot of overcast. It was really cool in the morning. Then the sun came out for a little bit, and it was just a perfect day to get out on the track. Sadly, I wish we had more time. Lime Rock's a half day. We go from like noon to 5. Sessions go quick, 20-minute sessions, and there's not much gap in between. So the day just seemed like it was on fast forward. I really wish we could spend more time at Lime Rock, but another club was rented it in the morning, so we just you got to take what you get. Looking forward to next season. Like I said, I want to drop a few more 100 pounds. I'm gonna have some more power, and I want to go to a full Hoosiers. So I want to get the car dialed in to handle better. It's gonna have more grip, more power, and lighter. So it should really come alive next season. I believe Jesse's going to step up to ST3, so that's going to be insanely tight competition. I'd like to do a full cage. I want to do that, do real door bars. I'd like to get some aluminum heads, lighter RPF1 wheels. So there's a lot left in the car. I am still not driving at the limit, or at least I don't feel anywhere close to the limit on the car. I actually was faster than Tom Otis's 2004 Mustang, which is insane. Granted, James was driving, and nothing against James. Just James was driving, and they didn't have power steering. They were running manual steering because the power steering rack got all jacked up at a JMP, and they haven't solved it. They put in a new rack. I was talking to Tom. Tom was saying that he thinks the rack is defective. So they were running Lime Rock with no power steering, and I was actually a second faster. And he's got an 04 Mustang, 315 slicks, big wing, splitter, the whole aero package, the Tiger Racing fiberglass hood, the AJ Hartman aero stuff on it, and he's got a Coyote. So he's 400 or 500 horsepower Coyote, screaming 8,000 IRS. He's running the 0304 Cobra IRS in the car. The car is prepped. So for me to just edge him out at Lime Rock is phenomenal. It was a great day. I wanted to get closer to a minute flat. That was my goal, but hey, I got a handful of clean laps in, and even less hot clean laps in. So I think we can get. I think I really stood my own. We had a lot of, I was battling with that ZL1 Camaro, and that thing's got, I don't know, 500-600 horsepower. I don't know. I mean, it's a supercharged LS. Pick a number. It was fun. And then the guy who beat me was in a Lotus Elise, and those things are track weapons. I mean, the thing's got splitter and diffuser, and the thing's 40 inches off the ground or whatever it is. 2,000-pound car. And to keep up with him in the corners was a phenomenal experience. I remember just growing up years ago, and all the Japanese guys were like, "Oh, you want to race this car? It's a stick axle and V8 and nose heavy. You're never going to get this car to turn in right. It's not going to handle right, and yada, yada, yada." And I'm glad I didn't listen to him, because, you can make, with the right parts, the right money and research, you can make anything go fast. I mean, whether it's front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, independent rear suspension, stick axle. I mean, you got guys out there with carbureted motors from the 70s, ripping stuff up. So it's just, stick to what you want to do, stick to your goals, don't listen to people and their bullshit. I'm really happy with the handling of the car. The car handles great. I want a little bit more grip. I am limited to a 275 tire, so I want to go to a softer compound, full Hoosier next year, do some takeoffs. Car handles great. I start to feel where the back end comes out, where it starts to rotate, and I get that sweet spot where you can keep your foot in and just kind of, feather the wheel a little bit. I do want to do a larger diameter steering wheel for next year. My steering wheel is a little on the small side, so it's probably good for a Miata or something, but it's a little on the small side for the Fox. Just overall a great season. I am, my first year running with Emron. I had a really good experience. Summit Point was brutal for me. I had a lot of mechanical issues. The car wasn't running right. Car saw 250-degree water temps. I wasn't running an oil cooler. Oil was, boiling water thin. I was losing oil pressure. Summit Point was a brutal, brutal weekend. It was 90 degrees. I was battling heat exhaustion the entire time. I ended up sleeping in the U-Haul pickup truck that I rented. It was, just 2 days in the heat. You're sleeping in a truck. It was just not a fun experience. Great track, great facility. I'd love to get down there again and have my car, prepped and running this time. But I can't even, words, I can't describe the emotions that I went through yesterday. Just getting out in Lime Rock and the build up to Lime Rock, and working on the car late hours in the garage, and just, going through the problems, going through the issues, working out the kinks, I drove to Lime Rock. A lot of people there are like, you're insane driving this car on the street. And I'm like, well, it's only an hour and a half away from me, and I'll take what I can get and take that risk. Everything just worked. NJMP was great in August. Everything worked perfectly there, and everything worked here. And the car's really coming into its own. My dampers are too soft. I know that. I'm running Bilstein Sports, so I do want to go to a full race damper for next season. I've noticed that I can't flick the car left and right as fast as I want to. She doesn't do well with fast transitioning from lefts to rights. Also, I need to get all my braking done in a straight line. I found out real quick that trail braking upsets the car and she starts to rotate, which is good because I can get the car to rotate when I want just by hovering on the brakes a little bit to get the car to turn in sharper. But as you see in the videos I'm uploading from Lime Rock, there was a few times where I even, I got a little rotation on the uphill, and there's no runoff there. If you make a mistake, you're going into the wall. So that was pretty scary. I got to get the car dialed in better. She just gets a little upset when I do some trail braking. So I've noticed some of the smaller cars with IRS, they can do a lot of trail braking, and I just have to do all threshold braking. I need to get all my braking done in a straight line, get off the brake, turn in. And that, it's scary when there's someone in front of you that's braking, and now I have to apply the brakes mid-corner, because that's when the car gets upset. So it's a learning experience. A lot of people think the straight axle, is an inferior design. It's donkey cart technology from the 60s. I totally get it. However, on a flat, smooth, paved racetrack, stick axle isn't that bad. And then, for my level, it's so much cheaper. The thing's bulletproof. I'll never break it. It just works. It's technology. I got all the Maxim Motorsports racing stuff, so it's prepped. I'm not running a rear sway bar. I'd like to step up to their adjustable bar to really tune the balance, but again, I'm at a point where I'm still working out the kinks. I'm still dialing in the car. I just don't see, spending that $400 right now is really going to get me that much quicker. Like I said, I was getting a lot of oversteer, so I don't see how putting in a rear bar is going to help with oversteer right now. I like the car. I really like how it's coming out. I'm still battling some exhaust leaks. I can hear that in the videos, which really gets me frustrated. I really hate the Fox body exhaust, the X-pipe, H-pipe design. I'm going to junk all that and go to a single exhaust. I might even do like a side exit single exhaust, just a 3-inch pipe. I don't like all the bolts and nuts and flanges and connections. It's just there's too many points of failure. And I feel like I'm constantly trying to get that exhaust to work, and it always leaks. So I don't, especially not having a lift, not having air tools, it's a pain in the balls getting under the car with wrenches and ratchets, and you're trying to tighten these bolts, and it just they always come loose. I'm always chasing this exhaust leak. It drives me nuts. I'd like to do a wide pipe, single 3 exhaust, maybe even do some V-band clamps, and then I can run a wideband, and that'll take a reading from both banks. I can do that at the joint at the Y, so that I can see my NFRs and actually tune my fuel pressure out on the street or out on the track, and get the car dialed in correctly. I'd like to dyno it. I'd like to get a dyno tuned. I'd like to get it up on the scales again and balanced. So there's a lot that I want to do over the winter. I'm looking forward to next year. I'm going to kind of take a break for a minute or two, but there is a lot to improve. Myself, driving skill, and the car. So stay tuned. I got a lot of videos coming in. I got some pictures. I got some content. I'm not going to disappear just because the season's over, but we are. I'm really enjoying just getting out on the track and learning the car. Honestly, just the seat time is amazing, and I highly recommend it. So stay tuned. Thanks, guys.